You should have done yourself favor and died while you had chance, Kroshka.
Great. Where are you going?
If you can move, leave. Trouble never comes alone.
Right. Roger that, Rasputin. I'll get right the fuck out. But I didn't. I couldn't. Where was I gonna go? So we came to an understanding. He would put up with me just as long as I pulled my own weight. And that was my shitty start to 6 long months.
We all have struggles in life, whether we're a Resident Evil character or not. Struggles they surround us. And so one of my struggles growing up was, well, especially being so young around high school, was getting a job. My sister's actually just about to turn 16, and for her, she's kind of reached that pivotal age where she needs a job. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's nice she wants to take driver's ed, she wants to learn to drive, but the thing is she needs a job. And I've told her multiple times that, like, your first job you're gonna hate, but you're gonna love the money and the income. And I think she's just not quite ready for the idea of job. She's balancing being a straight A student, she's balancing hockey and track and all this other shit and balancing her social life. Luckily right now she doesn't have a boyfriend, so I don't have to deal with that part of her life, so I haven't had to beat anyone's ass for a while yet. But apart from that, I mean, she's just got a lot on her plate, and I think a job's going to be even harder for her. But the thing is that I still think she should get a job. And I look back and I was realizing that I had trouble getting a job too, and it wasn't because I was inexperienced as far as having a job. It's just that at 16, who really wants to hire a 16-year-old when you can get someone who's 18 to do the same thing for the same amount of, like, wages? But the thing is that she has prior work experience at the Pettit. She was an employed referee, and she would make like 30-40 bucks an hour, which is pretty nice, and that's where my first job was too. I also worked at the Lions Club during State Fair. And so me having prior experience, the day I turned 16, I pretty much got a job right at Pick and Save. Loved it at Pick and Save. I was a utility clerk for about 2 days, which, now the reason I say 2 days was because I was hired as a utility clerk. Then there was like this sewage backup outside the back of our store, and you literally had to throw sludge into like the back of this like cleaning container. And she's like, do I have any volunteers? I'm like, as the new guy, I wanted to impress the boss. And the boss was hot. Terry was so hot. I swear to God, if there was ever going to be a case about employees having sex with their manager, it was going to be me and Terry. That's how smoking hot Terry was. Terry was 27. I'm 16. I'm just like, oh. Like, I would seriously have just banged her in the break room. I hate to say it, but Terry, if you're out there, you still have my number. But anyways, the reason why I wanted to impress the boss, and so I wanted to more importantly impress Terry. And so here I am, 16 years old, just throwing slush into, like, it was disgusting. Like, imagine expired yogurt mixed with expired fruit mixed with shit from a rat. And then you put it in a blender, and then you throw up after you look into it, and then you blend it with some coconuts. Like, that's what it looked like, and that's what it smelled like. It smelled like I was in the middle of a dragon's lair, and he hadn't left to take a shit for millions of years. That's how bad it reeked. And so I'm here, like, throwing sludge into a box, and my nose is, by this point, falling off my face, because I'm just like, oh my God, this is so strong. What the fuck did I get myself into? And the worst part about it is I bought Converse, like all black Converse, because it was required you wear all black shoes. So I had gone out, bought these like $60 pair of Converse from the Converse store, high tops, everything. First day I get to wear them at work is me stepping through slush, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, are you serious? And I'm just like, and I'm like, they give me a shovel, like a plastic shovel that you like put salt on, and I'm just like, it was the worst sound ever. It was like you're trudging through slush and like water. It was like liquid diarrhea spread over like 50 feet, and it was awful. And I cannot help but remember the smell to this very day. I still remember this smell. It was the worst smell I've ever encountered. And my dog I have a big fat ass golden retriever named Emma. She's obese as hell. I'm just saying. But she had her glands swollen, and so she couldn't take a crap. And that was a bad smell, but nothing to this very day is as bad as the slush at Pick and Slave. I called it Pick and Slave. But the thing is that with it, it's like, that was not their fault. That was just because Pick and Save, they have a compactor in the back, but the compactor had a crack in it, and the company that dropped it off didn't bother to check it, so everything we'd been thrown in for the week just kind of sat there and drained out into the area, and it was disgusting. And then I had a power washer. Like, I spent probably a good half an hour just doing this. It felt like an eternity, don't get me wrong. But after I was done with that, Terry came over and she hugged me and she's like, "Oh my gosh, you're my favorite employee now." I'm like, "Oh yes, Terry," because like I was shorter than Terry, so like my head was like rested like perfectly into her boobs, bro, and it's just like pillows, and I'm like, "Oh yes," and so I'm like, "Yes, Terry, that I'll do that for you." And then she's like, "You deserve a raise." I'm like, "Hell yeah, I deserve a raise. Give me a raise." Like, I wasn't even thinking about a raise. But then when she mentioned the word raise, and she's like, "What do you think's a good raise?" I'm like, "I'll take a 50-cent raise." And she's like, "Sure, I'll give it to you." I'm like, "Oh shit, yeah, give me a 50-cent raise." First 3 days on the job, got a 50-cent raise. I'm like, "Hell yeah." I'm like, "And can I get out of like utility clerk?" She's like, "Yeah, we'll move you to produce." I'm like, "Fuck yeah." I'm like, "Oh my god." I'm like, climbed up the corporate ladder in 4 days and then just sat there. And then like I just literally for the rest of, I worked at Pick and Save for about a year and 3 months. I literally after day 5 got to pretty much jack off for the rest of my Pick and Save career. I got to do whatever I wanted because after I got sent to produce, here's what happened. Terry left Pick and Save, but before she left, she taught me how to be a demo clerk. And a demo clerk, what they do is they pretty much give you free samples, they cook your food. And so what was super dope about that was that I learned how to cook like these really awesome meals. I learned how to cook like steaks, and I learned how to cook like fillets and all that. So I learned how to cook quite a bit. And that's all I did was I made free samples, gave them to people. That was it. That was my job. And I got another 10-cent raise out of that. And I just climbed the corporate ladder at Pick and Slave. I just loved it. But the thing is that here I am making $8 an hour as a 17-year-old, and I thought, you know what, let's go do something different. And so I got my job at Abercrombie & Fitch. Bad decision because I went back to minimum wage. But then I love Pick and Save so much. And the thing is that I will always still shop at Pick and Save. Just because I love it there. The community there's great. The customer service is great if you know the right people. I mean, I'm not saying that every Pick and Save you're going to get like 5-star service, but I know the one in Tosa. I know the produce manager now. He's actually a kid I went to school with, Brian Jaguar. One of the nicest kids you'll ever meet. And pretty much when I used to work at Pick, he actually became produce manager after I left. When I was at Pick and Save, I got like 6 or 7 of my friends to get jobs there, and it was great. It was perfect because all we needed to do was show up, and if we were closing, you had the best time of your life. Because like literally, go pick up carts, okay, and you guys would have races out on the carts. You'd put someone in the cart and you'd just push them. It was such a goof off job. It was great though. I mean, I loved it. I loved every second of Pick and Save. And I mean, just like with every other job, there's days where you're gonna love it, there's days you're gonna hate it. But when I look back at Pick and Save, it was one of those jobs where, yeah, I had a bad day, but for every bad day I had 10 more good days to make up for it. So that's kind of how I love my job, is that for every one bad day I have 10 more to make up for it. And that's kind of where both my parents being teachers, they have that same experience. Like my dad's like, "Oh, I had a bad day at work," but he loves the kids. So I feel like if you go in and you have a bad day, you should look at the other times that you've had great times at your job, and then you should just remember those moments. You should remember those great days of work. Because in the long run, not everyone has a job, and sometimes we're very unappreciative of the fact that we do have jobs and that we are employed. Because there are a lot of people out there who are struggling to make ends meet, and I feel like if you have a job at such a young age, you should appreciate the fact that you have an opportunity to make money at a young age when someone out there who has a kid and who has a family can't get a job and is struggling to make ends meet. So I think if people go in with that sort of mentality that they are fortunate, I think a lot of people will appreciate their job a little bit more. If you just look yourself in the mirror and say, I love my job, I think you're going to find out that you actually will have a better day. But anyways, it's not all about me. I want to hear what you guys have to say. I want to know about what job you first had. I want to know what job that you loved, which jobs you hate. Want to know jobs that you were like, oh my god, this job has such a hot boss. I will never leave this job. But then you realize that she's married and you have no chance in the world. Terry wasn't married. Like I said, Terry was 27 and single, so I had a chance, and I still have a chance with Terry. So don't be hating, guys. I still have a chance. But just let me know. Leave a comment down below, and if you haven't already joined the Lactide community, please hit that subscribe button. I'm a very small channel, and I would love to grow, and I would love to make some content that you guys would appreciate. If you have any other ideas, throw it in the discussion board, or feel free to smash a like button and leave a comment. Anyways, it's Lactide, and I'm signing out.